one of the biggest changes that is occurring as we speak is not just the numbers, it's the attitude toward aging and toward older persons, not by the society, but also by institutions, by governments, and society as a whole. So it's a huge change. And I always see change as a potential. For instance, we see young grandmothers as super consumers. You know why? Because they buy for themselves, they buy for their children, they buy for their grandchildren, and they buy for their older parents. I mean, this is the single profile that actually buys for 4 generations.
Welcome to the EcomXFactor podcast, where it's all about launching and scaling your business using sales funnels, automations, and smart marketing. And now, please welcome your host, the founder of EcomXFactor, Yaron.
Hi, Roy. How are you?
Hi, Yaron. Thank you. I'm great. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to a conversation. It's a kind of unusual. We're going to dive into a specific persona or a specific demographic that I don't normally talk about, and I'm very excited. So for the listeners who don't know you, can you tell us a bit about your background and what you're doing these days?
Sure. So I'm 49. I'm an Israeli, and my background is marketing, business development, and advertising. I was really involved in all kinds of digital platforms here in Israel. And for the past 9 years, I'm concentrated or focused on seniors, senior consumer, aging, AgeTech, longevity, and marketing to senior consumers.
Interesting. And what led you to focus on these demographics? I'm sure it's a very long story, but if you can give
yeah,
us
but well, in a nutshell, it was a meeting in 2013. I was celebrating 40s, and I was on a surfing trip to the Maldives. And in one of the days, I met 2 Australian surfers. One of them was 68, the other one was 67, and I was just blown away by their mentality, by the performance, and their entire attitude. And when I came back to Israel, I said, okay, I'm 40. I have at least 30 years ahead of me. For me, it was a revelation. The other revelation was, okay, what's going on with seniors? I mean, I never met anyone at this age doing such, so active, so vital. So I started exploring, the numbers, the markets, and I discovered, back to the ocean, I discovered the huge blue ocean. That means that aging and the whole aging process, not just locally, but globally. And one thing led to another, and here I am.
Awesome. So can you expand on this? I mean, what did you discover? You discover that these people are very affluent. You discover that the numbers are huge in rich countries. You discover that these people are more active than what you expected. Can you elaborate about why you consider it a blue ocean?
Sure. First of all, tag this entire segment as the aging revolution. And why I think it's a revolution, because I think we are on the threshold of entire new era in the humankind. I mean, in just 4 or 5 decades, we were able, the human race, with the help of course, of technology, computing science, and of course, health systems, okay, across the globe. So the humankind was able to actually double his life expectancy. So now around the world, we percent of the population is above 60. in 2050, okay, just 25 years from now, the percent of the aging population will be 21%. It means that in 25 years from now, we're going to have 2.1 billion people on the face of the earth that are above 60. Okay, this is a change in the human race. It means that every 1 in 5 person around the world is going to be a senior or an older adult. And this changed the entire ecosystem, you know, business-wise, society-wise, and of course, the financially, and in every term or aspect that you are talking about, especially marketing, sales, customer service. Okay, it's crucial that you include the 60 plus segment, because now the growing numbers are just tremendous. And when you start to explore by continent, by countries, you see that there are countries that every 1 in 3 citizens, like Japan, which is the oldest country in the world, okay, 1 in 3 person is above 60. And in the United States, we have now the baby boomer generation, which means that more than 75 million people are retiring as we speak. It's 10,000 people per day. And one of the biggest changes that is occurring as we speak is not just the numbers, the statistics, okay? It's also the attitude toward aging and toward older persons, not by the society, but also by institutions, by governments, and society as a whole. So it's a huge change, and I always see change as a potential. And so far, there are, of course, organization, corporation, and entrepreneurs that are already acknowledged and you know, are working in this field, but there is a lot of space and place for many others to join. And you know, it's not just that the older person image is changing, but also its capabilities and his consumer behavior. So I think it's really an exciting area to be a marketeer, especially if you're interested in this segment.
Awesome, great, and I really appreciate you sharing the numbers. First of all, it's amazing that you're on top of the numbers and have them on top of mind, but it also gives a better like understanding of how huge the potential is here. So
you know, I want to add
Go ahead.
Just one more number, if you may. You know, most of the marketeers are interested in the millennials, Generation Z, generation, and the U.S. Bureau of Labor, okay, just released a statistic that says that millennials and Y generation and Z generation, their spending power is 18% in total, while 55 and up is 39% purchasing power, which means it's above double. I mean, so 55 and plus, I mean, 55, 65, and 75 and over spend double than millennials, Y generation, and Z generation. Okay, this is something to think about.
Yeah, for sure, it's a huge opportunity. So now, with regards to marketing, can any marketer come and say, okay, I'm just going to target these guys who are more affluent, I'm just do some like throw in social images, videos, test what I know from targeting like broad and see what goes on? Or is there like specific and fundamental guidelines for targeting seniors that you realized are completely different, or in a way very different from like broad target?
Well, I would like to divide this question into two. First of all, you have to understand that seniors are not like a full block, okay? It's not, this segment is very heterogeneous.
Mm-hmm.
And you have also all kinds of subgroups, okay? And I usually prefer not to address them by age, but rather than their activities and their state of mind and what phase are they in their lives, okay?
Mm-hmm. Can you give examples?
This is
So, sorry for disrupting, but can you give some examples regarding the subgroup? So let's say,
for instance, a lot of people ask me, okay, what do you consider a senior person?
mm-hmm.
And I look at a person and I say, okay, a person that has already concluded his children upbringing, which means most of his children are adults, okay, especially adults by law, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are living with him, or some of them, or all of them are left the house, which means he is an empty nesters.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the big change from a family with, you know, a person as a segment, as an adult, and a young senior,
Yeah.
okay. And then there is like an age group. I see that they're 55 to 65, and then 65 to 80, and 80 and above, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is quite strong borders that
mm-hmm.
you determine, but I see it differently. I see it, you can be a very active 80 and plus person, and you could be, unfortunately, a rather sick and non-functional 60 years old, okay.
Yeah.
So it really depends on how active and independent and mobile you are, and what are your goals in life, what are your needs and desires at each phase or each stage in your life. So this is how I look at the different subgroups of the senior segment.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have to consider that who is taking the more behavioral, who's making the purchasing this decision or the purchasing process, okay. Is it an older adult that is, which is doing the entire process independently, or is it a much older person that his caregivers, his family members, his younger family members has to assist him with all kinds of purchasing decision, okay? Yeah. Or even assist him with all kinds of. So the first thing you have to learn about marketing to seniors, which is rather different than the broader population, is to identify which group are you addressing, okay? It's very similar actually to younger cohorts, okay? For instance, if you are addressing the Z generation or teenagers, okay, they're very different from young parents, okay, with small children. So it is the same thing with seniors, okay? Yeah. You have to really identify. So, and the other thing is that seniors' self-esteem and how they see themselves is very, very different from what others see them. And there is a very interesting change in the way of seniors would like others to address them. So this is also something you have to do, especially if you do not want to send ageist messages or portray ageist images in your marketing and advertising campaign.
Interesting.
1 second.
Sure.
Okay, let's continue. Start.
It's fine. So, okay, this is very interesting. So not showing not treating them as if they are seniors. This is one of the rule of thumb in a way.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so I asked initially regarding like fundamental marketing best practices for seniors, and one of the things that you said like a few seconds ago is the fact that not necessarily addressing them as seniors, or did I misunderstood?
No, you are right to the point, because first of all, I really think that the right approach will be ageless approach. Okay, I mean, older adults has the same desires as other persons. Okay, they may have other needs, okay, that are related to their state of mind or their physical situation. Okay, but they desire the same things as younger persons. And when you and there are a lot of surveys and researchers regarding ageism and how seniors see themselves. And the bottom line is, most of the seniors, especially below 80s, don't look themselves as seniors. Okay, they see themselves as young people. Okay, and this is the big change between the 80 plus and 90 plus, okay, and the baby boomers. Okay, and the cohort that is between the X generation and the baby boomers, which are now the first in line to become seniors in 5 or 10 years. And there was a huge advancement in the last 2 or 3 years, especially because of COVID. Okay, that a lot of seniors joined the entire conversation with digital channels, and they become part of the conversation, and that makes them part of the society. And this is very different from 3 or 4 decades ago, when technology and advancement just left the seniors behind. Now they are in the conversation. Okay, and if you look at the numbers of how many seniors own smartphone and how many seniors joined the social networks, you will be amazed. Okay.
I'd love to explore this in a moment and also speak about how maybe the COVID affected or maybe accelerated this process. But before, do you mind sharing like more of maybe some more tactical guidelines regarding how to market to seniors? So my assumption, which might be incorrect, so that they need maybe to be like more information before making a buying decision, or less videos, more text, or more touch points, or that they want to hop on a call before converting. So stuff like that. I'm obviously making generalizations, but I would like you to verify or maybe
there are a lot of
my
myths in yeah, you assumed correctly. So first of all, there is no one thumb rule, okay, because the entire marketing process to senior is evolving. Again, as we speak, the revolution is underway, and there are a lot of marketing channels to senior are evolving and expanding because the increased usage of digital channels. But you have to understand one thing. Unlike, of course, the Z generation, millennials, and the Xers, okay, that I'm from the X generation, okay. I'm a total immigrant according to the digital language, okay. I learned the language, I embraced the digital language, and now I know how to use many digital platforms. For many seniors, especially boomers and the silent generation, the digital language is a whole new language they have to learn, adapt, and use. I always say to marketing manager, let's say when we examine their customer voyage, no, it's not the customer voyage, their customer experience in their digital channels or in other channels, I always suggest that let's imagine that you are now in a very large city in China, and you have to go from point A to point B, and all the signs, all the street signs are in Chinese, and you don't have anyone to ask for direction. So for some seniors, navigating a website or an application or even, a landing page is in some way very similar to navigate a city without any instructions, okay, that you understand. And this is the gap between the digital orientation before COVID was very wide, and it got very narrowed because of COVID, okay? And one of the tips I always give to my clients is you have to look at your marketing experience and your promotion, not from your eyes, but how a senior person look at them for the first time, okay? And I always do a little quiz, especially when I lecture, okay? If you want, we can do a quick 2 or 3 question. I can do it with you if you like, okay? So let's, for example, you enter an application or a website, okay? And you see a little square with 3 lines, 3 horizontal lines. What it means?
I'm assuming it's a menu.
Exactly, okay? And you see another white box with a magnifying glass inside it.
Search.
Okay, so and we can continue it, for so many icons. So for you and for me, it's natural. For my children, okay, they're teenager. For them, it's like that's their major language. Okay, they don't need any explanation about these icons. But for seniors, okay, who are not familiar with this iconization, with the language, with the journey they have to do inside application or websites, for them, it's a whole different situation. So if you don't know how a senior person experience your website or application or other means of promotion, just ask. Ask a senior, make a focal group, or just make a pilot with seniors, okay? How do they onboard, how they use, how they share, how do they respond. And I assure you that after you test and use what I call inclusive user experience, which means that inclusive design or inclusive user experience in your marketing and promotion tools means that even a person with a very poor digital orientation can navigate your channels. It means that the others will, without any doubt, will understand what they're expected to. So this is the first tip.
First of all, I love the analogy of China, because I often when I used to build e-commerce funnels, I used to give them to my mom, which isn't so tech savvy. I love her, but she wasn't tech savvy pre-COVID. Now she's like almost a developer. But I asked her like to follow the customer journey and make a purchase, and she encountered challenges that I didn't even realize that these challenges can pop up. So it's
I totally relate.
it's mainly so I had a conversation with an advisor a few weeks ago, and he told me that the goal isn't to make everything clear, but the goal is to make everything not possible to go wrong. And this shifted my mind with regards to giving guidelines or instructions to workers or like customer journey or UX UI. And this is very interesting because I love the analogy regarding visiting China, when you don't understand nothing when you visit China, assuming that you don't speak Mandarin. So if we can stay with this specific tip, are there any valuable tools out there that people can look up? I don't know, like there is like the platform which is called WalkMe, I guess, that really guides you between stuff like this. Are there any out-of-the-box tools or guidelines that you suggest to make this process, the customer journey, with zero mistakes or zero deviation from what we expected as marketers?
Yeah, well, you mentioned it before. The telephone number that you mentioned is so crucial because, and we did actually some testing group with eBay in their development center in Israel. So we invited a couple of, around 100 older to learn about eBay. But actually, when we told them about eBay and we actually examined their usage of the platform. And what we learned that older adults are more afraid of doing something wrong in the ordering process than, for instance, leaving their credit card number. Okay, because for them, when there's no customer service at the end of the line or on the other side, so they are very stressed. What if something goes wrong? And for younger people, if you order $5 item from eBay and you got something wrong, okay, so you lost $5 and maybe you will return it. Older adults see it differently. Okay, for them, to be engaged with something that went wrong and how they going to replace it and how they going to return it, for them it's very tedious process. So the fear of doing something wrong is something as a barrier, and you see a lot of when you analyze when seniors are their ordering process, you see that when you have a telephone number for a customer service, they're actually the completion rate of the ordering process is much higher without a telephone number. Okay, because
I'm not sure I understood. This confused me. So can you explain? The completion, the checkout, the conversion rate is higher with no phone?
No, the conversion is much higher when there is
a
telephone number, because they tell themselves, okay, if something wrong, I can call customer service and they can help me, okay, with a live person, okay, not a bot or an automated answering service, but a living person that can relate to my problem and I can explain to him, okay, and hopefully he could resolve my problem. So just by giving the telephone number, and of course assistance would be very helpful in any ordering process, online process. Okay, so this is, I think, is crucial. And the final tip is, I think, is really understand the value proposition that your product or service is what is your value proposition for a senior, not just the entire population or other generation, but especially for a senior or a subgroup of seniors that you identify. Okay, what is the value for this person, this profile, that he will choose to buy it? I mean, okay, it goes to any age, but it's different, and senior consumer value services and products differently than younger generation. Let's for example take a car. Okay, Yaron, you told me you have a young daughter. Okay, so for instance, if you like to buy a new car, okay, you as a young father would consider your next car not just the technical aspects of the car, but also if it's spacious, if you can take a carry bag, or the entire equipment that you have to buy. You have to put it in the car when you have a young baby. Okay, it's a lot of equipment. Okay, sure. You probably understood that. And for seniors, for instance, he look at a new car completely different. For instance, what matters for him is how easy to get in and out of the car, because he's not flexible as he used to be. Okay, he has to see that he has a very good sight of every window, because his reaction to what's going on the road is different than what he used to be 20 years ago. Okay, we found out in one of the largest car distributor that a lot of senior ladies go, especially on the sales platform or sales floor, when they go and check how easy it to open the rear door, the baggage door. Okay? Because in some cars you have to pull a lot of muscles in order to open the luggage door, okay, and put the groceries in. So they thought of, okay, how it's going to be for me. Okay. And a lot of salesperson in the car auto industry talks about how how advanced
horsepower is
the media platforms in the car. It's actually a turnoff for some seniors. Okay, they don't appreciate it much. They just want to press the switch and ride.
Yeah, interesting.
So so you have to look at every product or service in different angles, in different.
What comes to mind in this case? First of all, you have to be a better marketer, and this is always the right advice. But it's very interesting because even things that you might think won't create, that are nice to say, might increase the conversion, but they can be counterproductive. Like you said, like if someone approaches you at the car dealership and you start showing them the media, you're so advanced, and it might even scare them. So this is one thing to have in mind. And what I'm thinking of, that the best solution in most of the cases is having like some sort of a survey, like you suggested, like or a user or usability testing. So how do you go about with and finding people to these surveys, or how do you normally do these focus groups? Do you have advice regarding this?
Yeah, well, first of all, I work, especially in Israel, I worked with some groups that are dedicated to seniors. In one group, they have more than 50,000 followers. And I use this group. First of all, I monitor this group and I see all the time their conversation, the topics, what they like and dislike. It's fascinating. And sometimes when I have question, I have all kinds of members in this group that are responding to me. Also, there are designated initiatives, especially in the US, when they actually test products and service for marketeers and for entrepreneurs, and the testers are seniors. And they're not just testing, they're also doing think tanks with marketeers, okay, or with corporation, and think what they can develop, what they can change. And so it's all available. You just have to explore and dig, and it's all there.
That's interesting. Speaking of initiatives, so before we went online, you told me about an initiative that you had with the Jerusalem municipality. So I thought it sounds like a very interesting case study. So you mind elaborating about what exactly did you do there?
Yeah, well, first of all, it was during COVID, the Jerusalem municipality and the Israeli digital office really did a lot of efforts to cover the digital gap and make more senior digital. So they used digital orientation lessons by an international company, TechBuddy, who has a branch in Israel, very successful branch in Israel. And together, they approached a senior citizen in Jerusalem and they offered them free of charge 4 lessons, online lessons, and by which they can learn basics usage of either their personal computer or their smartphone. And they help. What was really unique about it, that it was not one fits all. What I mean is every senior citizen could choose the what he wishes to learn. Okay, and the orientation was according to his digital orientation level. So some wanted to get, more knowledge about how to operate their computers and how to organize their documents and their photos. Some needed help how to go online and get appointments in the HMO and the doctor's office or the post office, which all went online because of COVID, okay? And some wanted help to go social and connect with their family members all around the world. And I think what was special about this campaign, that we actually interviewed some of the senior citizens and we got their testimonials and their views and experience, how this orientation helped them. And this went viral. I mean, there was a media coverage. They were invited to morning shows and tell their stories, how they, with digital orientation session, became more independent and not relying on their children, and how they gained self-confidence. So this was so successful that within a year, more than 10,000 senior citizens went with this project. I mean, they were participants in this project. And now more municipalities in Israel are adopting this method, and which means that more senior citizens in Israel will have this orientation and personal session.
Amazing.
So for me, it was, not just like the success of the campaign and the identifying the needs of the target audience, but also, we all felt that we're doing something, back to society, and we really help people, not just, buying stuff or products, but actually give them tools to be more independent and self-reliant.
That's amazing. And again, this story is amazing, and it sounds like the campaign was a huge success. But what you used, not to take away from the success, but what you used is kind of a fundamental aspect of personalization, but it's overlooked many times by marketers. And because you're a good and experienced marketer, so you did the personalization, and you actually showcased that every senior, although they can be labeled as seniors, there are subgroups, and everybody has different needs. This senior wants to know how to conduct Zoom sessions. This senior wants to write a book, and this senior wants to have like an appointment to the dentist. So personalizing the marketing is so important, and I appreciate the fact that you did this so well, and this is amazing. I want to be respectful of your time. We had 1 hour for this interview, and I want to start concluding. I'm wondering if there's anything else that you would like to share, any guidelines, maybe do's and don't do's for people who are marketing to seniors. Obviously, we don't want to generalize. It's one thing that we discussed often is don't generalize this demography. But do you have anything that you would like to mention that didn't mention during our conversation?
Well, first of all, I think learning, okay, and deep learning, this segment will benefit. If you want to be a professional, you do your studies and learn more about this segment, and you have a lot of data and you have a lot of information for instance, the American Association for Retired People, the AARP, which is the largest nonprofit organization that is lobbying for seniors in the United States, and also has a lot of influence around the world because it has more than 45 million active members, which is huge. Okay, they have a very interesting and very professional research unit, it's a research division, and they have every year they are doing reports and surveys, and it's out in the public, and you as a marketeer can actually download these reports and researchers and really benefits from all this amazing knowledge that is open to the public. You just have to know where to look. And you also have many marketing agencies like SeniorMarket, like my agency, that also as an offering, are also releasing a lot of information for marketeers, calling them to learn more about this segment, because I think, the more marketeers and advertiser will tend toward the senior segments, the more business and the more activities we're going to see. Because, and I want to conclude with another number, that many seniors, especially women, okay, really are aggravated because they think they are not well represented in the media and in social media. Okay, and this is a huge opportunity for marketeers. You can, if you want to look at a quick example, just look for the gray hair don't care hashtag, or gray models, or anything with the gray style. Okay, you'll be amazed, about, for instance, how many profiles of above 60 or above 55 women profile we'll found. You'll see how the anti-ageism movement is growing. Okay, instead of anti-ageism, instead of anti-aging. Okay, let me repeat that. Instead of anti-aging, you see now the pro-aging movement, which means that you don't have to be anti or against the process of aging, but rather to embrace it, accept it, and actually flourish with the aging process. So we'll see a lot of pro-aging activists. Most of them are women. And I think it's a huge undercurrent that marketeer should look into it. And you actually see marketeers like Dove that already includes above 55 presenters in their advertising campaign, as well as other figures that represent many subgroups in our society. Okay, the plus size, and other what was considered as minorities. So this is the time for the aging group to rise. And if you are a marketeer and you identify it, I guarantee that you will profit from it.
Awesome. That's very interesting. I was not sure if should I ask the question, why do you think these are only females that are so active? But I'm not sure that you have a good answer at all.
I have an excellent answer. Okay, because first of all, women share more than men. They are more active on social media, and they join more the conversation, the entire conversation. Okay, and they have huge buying power. Okay, for instance, we see young grandmothers as super consumers. You know why? Because they buy for themselves, they buy for their children, they buy for their grandchildren, and they buy for their older parents. I mean, this is the single profile that actually buys for 4 generations. You can look at their credit card data and see so many different products and services that aim for, 4 generations. Okay, how much grandparents, they spend billions on their grandchildren, presents and other stuff, and also they help their young children, with either financial aid or just by buying them stuff. Okay, and also young grandmother is also taking care of her older parents who are at home, and she helps them buying groceries, services, and other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's all around her. She's a super consumer.
For sure. Wow. I'm thinking of my mom. She buys a lot of stuff to everybody. So can definitely relate. Awesome. Thank you so much, Roy. Where can people find out more about the services that you provide or read about? Are you available on any of the social network? Do you upload content?
Yes, of course. First of all, my English page is on LinkedIn. Okay, you can either address my profile as Roy Koren or SeniorMarket Israel. I upload a lot of data in my LinkedIn pages, and also on my Facebook page, SeniorMarket page. And I also have a very interesting group for those who are interested in aging technologies, or what we say AgeTech. Okay, we have a very interesting group under the brand Aging Tech Israel group. You can find us both on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and you can learn about many innovations that are coming for the global aging markets. So we have a lot of interesting stuff there.
Awesome, great. I would love to maybe conduct another conversation to discuss this, but I think we covered a lot today, and I appreciate your time and the value and the insights. It opened my mind to landscapes that I didn't even think about, and we will obviously share the links that you mentioned in the show notes. That's it for today. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, and you're all welcome to join the Aging Revolution.
Awesome. Thank you.
Have a great year.
Hi guys, this is Yaron again. Just a few more things before you take off. Number one, if you want to learn more about e-commerce and marketing, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, which is called EcomXFactor Official. Number two, check out our Facebook group, which is called EcomXFactor Marketing and E-commerce Mastermind. This is a great place to ask questions and connect with other business owners. And last but not least, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share it with your friends and colleagues, plus leave a review at your favorite podcast app.